Hello YouTube!
What did I pack the exhaust with? You'll find a little square in the loft, uninsulated.
Right guys, so it's a few days later. Unfortunately ran out of space on the memory card for when I was finishing off the other day, so this is how we're looking now. So wastegate is fitted and the flange is fully welded to the manifold. I have test fitted it on the car and it works fine. There's no internals in the bearing housing at the minute, so that's one thing that I do have to do. So that's the next phase. I've got to get this turbo completely built up and then get everything bolted up and into the car. Once the assembly is bolted in the car, a few things left to do. I have got to make the oil drain, which I'm going to steal off of that and join to this piece that pushes into the block. And I've also got to run the oil line to the top here and blank off the coolant lines because the previous turbo was water cooled, and as you can see, no water cooling on this turbo. What I will do now before I completely assemble this is I need to grind this V-band assembly off here. It's a 2.5 inch outlet on there, so with that V-band ground off I will just be able to put a normal silicone joiner on that with a hose clip and that will be fine. I'll quickly do that and then get this turbo completely rebuilt. So here we are guys, that is completely rebuilt and ready to go. So laid everything out on the bench here. The compressor housing has been ground off like that. It's a nice fit for a 2.5 inch coupler. Manifold about to go on. Got new gaskets, bought the turbo to it. This I've not bolted up tight yet because I don't know what orientation it is to go on the car, but yeah, I'm going to pull that on now. I've got the manifold on like you saw, and I test fitted the turbo. The oil drain is going to be fairly tight and I had to take a little bit off the gearbox to just make sure there's clearance on the intake side of things. Just been messing around with the oil drain. This is the drain just mocked up at the minute. This was the existing one that I had on that spare turbo there. I've cut and shut that. There's a couple of tacks on there and there is a fall on here, which on the camera it doesn't look like much, but there is a fair fall there. This is quite a large diameter pipe, so it shouldn't cause too much of an issue. Like I say, just tacked on there at the minute and I'm going to quickly test that on the car. So that is literally millimeters away from working perfectly. Just down there, that is the oil drain pipe there, and just below that, that black thing there is the gearbox mount. It's just a little bit of flat plate which is just interfering very slightly. So I could just grind a little cutout for where the pipe goes, but I can get that pipe up a little closer and I can clock it to a bit more of a favourable position. So I'm going to quickly do that now and hopefully that will give it the clearance I need without having to cut the gearbox mount. Good morning and welcome back. So I was working late into the night last night and I've got quite a few things done. I didn't film it just because I was trying to crack on, but this is the position we're in at the minute. Turbo is bolted onto the manifold and there is an oil drain connected there. water lines were quite easy on this. All I needed to do was block off the lines because this does not have water cooling on it. So all I'm doing for today is attaching the existing exhaust to there. Is a bit of a stretch, and it's not ideal, it's not perfect because the V-band on the old turbo was in a slightly different position. This has got to come off anyway because I will have to route the external wastegate into there, but for now I just want to get the car started. So I am going to get this going quickly just on the standard management. All I need to do is oil feed line, downpipe on, intercooler pipe here, and then I need to just put an elbow on the intake of the turbo, put the MAF on there, plug it all in, and it should hopefully just fire up. Right, so there we are. The turbo is now in, everything is plugged in, intercooler is plumbed up, we have the MAF sensor just in there, just pushed onto the turbo so it'll run. Everything is as it needs to be, I think, fingers crossed, and this is the first start.
Yeah, man.
Did you undo my
Undo your... Oh, your tap. Idle tap undone. That is literally your idle tap, isn't it?
Well, it runs.
It runs. It works.
Go with an audience.
Yes.
Alright guys, yesterday was the first start of the HXS40. Plan. There were no issues, no leaks, no fires, no nothing like that. I did take it for a little rip just to see that everything was okay. I didn't take the cameras out and film it. I did take a little mobile clip whilst I was there because it sounded amazing. But here's a little clip. Only on the standard map at the minute. I've not gone as far as putting the standalone on there yet, but that will come. But it drives quite well. The boosters have been limited. I kept an eye on the air fuel ratio, and it was perfectly safe. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the car up on the ramps so I can modify the exhaust, because the exhaust hangs a little bit low, so over bumps it does scrape a little bit. So I'm going to be fixing that. I probably won't be routing the external wastegate into the exhaust straight away because it does sound epic. I will unfortunately have to do that because of drive-by noise on track days, because it will be way too loud. Now that's up on the ramp, I'll quickly whip off the downpipe. So this is downpipe off the car. Like I said, it's very close to being just right. It already clamps on as it is. As you can see, there's this section here that was welded in to accommodate the previous turbo because it was slightly higher up. I now have to get rid of that, so I'll be chopping that part out, fitting this bit back on the car, and making sure I can get this onto here just as I want it, and see if I can throw a few tacks on it whilst it's on the car and all bolted up. That way I will know that it all fits perfectly. So first things first, chop this bit off and then stick this bit back in the car. Right, so this bit goes back on. That is the downpipe there, and obviously the turbo. So it is pretty much just a short radius 90 from one to the other, a little bit of a kink in it, easy peasy, or so we hope. So I'll chop that bit off and see how well that lines up. This is how we're looking. So you have this elbow with the V-band on it, bolted to the turbo, and that there is a downpipe. It's not welded yet, but you can see that that is fitting up nicely there. I've also trimmed this down a bit and that will get welded onto there. That goes down to there, and I've got another bit of pipe which I will just weld onto the end of that just to stick out the bottom of the car for now. I'm not going to be merging it into the downpipe just yet, just because this gets it going quicker without as much fabrication, and I need to get a few bits before I can do so, but at least the car will be drivable. So I'm going to quickly mark that up, weld that together, and then bolt it back on the car, and that will be the downpipe done for now. Okay, so here we go. This is the screamer pipe. Didn't back purge it. Not too much of an issue. It is just a temporary fix for now, so that's why I didn't bother to back purge this either, because this is just a MIG welded downpipe which I've had for a decade possibly. So yeah, it's not the best, but there you go. Okay, downpipe is all on, and so is the screamer. So underneath that, there's the downpipe, there is the screamer pipe, or divorce wastegate, whatever you want to call it. And if you're keen-eyed, that is not exhaust tube, that's actually a bit of spare roll cage tubing that I've got some CDS that I had lying around. Like I say, it is only temporary, so I probably won't even bother putting the exhaust clamp on there for the minute, because I'm going to have to take all this off, and I don't think it leaks without the exhaust clamp. So yeah, that's done. I'll give it a quick start. There we go. Hopefully the next video is of some rips.
So Andy's just fitted an HX40 Supra to the S40, and he's just thrown me the keys. It sounds epic. So not mapped yet, but little second gear pull. Oh, it sounds amazing. You know what? These truck turbos aren't so bad after all. So HX40 Super, Volvo S40 T4. What do we reckon?